Welcome to the Dead-Celebs Podcast with your hosts, Brent Nowak and Tana Satterley.
Welcome to the Dead-Celebs Podcast. This is one of your hosts, Brent Nowak. We are currently, Tana and I, and also help from Jody Riley, are working on our next celeb podcast, which is going to be on Bob Marley. But in the meantime, I'd like to share a recent podcast that I was on. Two of my friends, Diego Garcia and Brad Ashten, who live all the way across the country, have a podcast interviewing filmmakers and actors, producers, finance people. It's an all-around podcast if you're interested in the entertainment industry. So they asked me to come on. I spent 7 years in LA trying to make movies. I directed a couple award-winning shorts, and I also have a feature film which is on Amazon, and you can rent it for $1 that we filmed back in the 2000s. It's called Harvest Moon. The best way to find it, it's an older movie, and there's a lot of Harvest Moons, is to put in Harvest Moon in my name, Brent Nowak, Nowak. Without further ado, we're going to listen to the podcast from the Actor Factor with myself as a guest. Enjoy and get ready for Bob Marley.
This is the Actor Factor Podcast with Brad Ashten and Diego Garcia. Today's guest, actor, filmmaker, podcaster, Brent Nowak.
We're going to be talking to Brent Nowak on the episode today, and he's got his own podcast on a YouTube channel himself.
That's right, man. Dead-Celebs.
Dead-Celebs.
It's so interesting.
It's super interesting because the celebrities are actually dead.
Understood.
So who do you think he talks
copy
to?
that. Copy that.
Yeah.
So-
Him and his co-host. No, it's interesting. If you hadn't listened to it, you should listen to it. And as a matter of fact, why don't we listen to him right now? Tell us about what it is. What do you think?
Let's do this.
Okay.
You're listening to the Actor Factor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And
Welcome
you know
back.
what, dude? You know who we have on the podcast today?
I think I do. I'm staring at its face right now, that beautiful mug.
He's a longtime friend of both of ours. He's a super, super talented guy, and we're happy to have him on. He's an actor, he's a podcaster, he's a filmmaker, and so much more. Brent Nowak, welcome, buddy.
Welcome to the show, man.
Hello, gents. I'm excited to be on here. Thank you for joining, for allowing me to come
Dude,
on
it's so
here.
cool.
Yeah, it's great, man. We can really start anywhere, but what are you working on right now? What did you just get off of, and what are you getting into? And let's get this conversation
Just
going
pop
that
it,
direction.
yeah.
I gotcha. I spent time with the three of you in Houston, Texas, working on Brad's
That's right.
project, which was one of the best experiences I've ever had. So I couldn't be happier. Yeah, I got off set and I told everyone, I said, I was so excited to be out
It was
there.
good.
Not only to like hang out with you guys and Janie and see your dad again, but just everything went so smoothly. It was such a great. I can't say enough how much fun it was.
I agree, man. I had a
and I
blast,
hope-
but that's really
this-
really sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it all. Mean it all very much. What else? My son and I just did a PSA spot with our agent.
Nice.
I have a 6-year-old son.
So
Yeah.
Miles has
That's
an
about-
agent now.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. He's actually booking more stuff.
course.
now.
You know what? We've
So-
said it on previous podcasts. If I ever had a kid, I would name him Cash Cow. Because that's what else do
Yeah.
you do with those little guys? You get out there and you make that money, kid.
That's
I'm
right.
kidding.
Right.
He's
and,
cute. Your kid's cute.
and I think, yeah, thank you very much. Well, he's half me. so.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, and now that the breakdowns or the auditions are coming in, and it says you and your
Perfect.
son, and sometimes though I'm like, oh, I'm available. And they're like, well, this was just for Miles.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Hey,
what?
but at least you can put it out there,
What?
right? It doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I've got a podcast as well too. You guys inspired me too, because the two of you, I was jealous as I saw you guys both working on this podcast. I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to jump in
No.
too.
I think what
So-
happened was you were like listening to it. You're like, I think I can do that. I can do that. I'm going to start a podcast. It's not that difficult. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for that.
Well,
Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
tell us a little bit
It's
about
very
what
good.
your podcast is about.
Yes.
So we focus on the life and death of celebrities,
Oh, wow.
and mostly dead celebrities. So our episode that's going to come out this Sunday is Bobby Christina Brown, which Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's daughter. Not necessarily a celebrity, but an intriguing life
Mhm.
story and very interesting death. a lot of death around her death, which is very, very interesting. Her friends were dying right around her time frame. The guy who found her in the bathtub died of a heroin overdose.
Wow.
Nick Gordon, her boyfriend, died of a heroin overdose 3-4 years later. So just an interesting,
super interesting.
The name of your podcast is called the Dead-Celebs Podcast.
That's right. And if you listen to that podcast, you will hear Brad's voice as he introduces us in the beginning. Yeah. So we've got a little voiceover from Brad.
You know, this is what we were talking about in prior episodes as well. Is like you work with people for so long, you know so many people, and you start out really as a nobody in the industry, and whatever you're trying to do in a profession, whatever it is, and you make relationships, and hopefully you maintain these over the years and good working relationships with individuals who've gone on to be successful, because then you can call on them to do favors, to help you with your projects, you know, and it's
many different successes, you know. It's like, you know, when you got into this business, why did you get into this business? What inspired you when you realized you were going to be a filmmaker?
Man, when I was struggling in San Diego. My first fiance, that's how many fiancés I've had, left me, and I was like, you know, I'm living in San Diego right now. I've got an opportunity to do something different. So I started doing student films, met Brad on a low budget.
We call that a no budget set?
No budget set. They actually were trying and lying about paying.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I got a $75 check when I was owed way more. And I was expecting this money to pay rent.
There you go.
Back when we could have rent for $750.
We booked a movie and we thought, holy crap, we're working in a movie, an independent film that has a stipend, or we were going to guarantee to pay, and it never came.
Right.
Yeah.
Never came.
But asking us to take our clothes off.
Wait, this is in San Diego?
Yeah. He was struggling in San Diego. It was San Diego.
But when you were doing the Shakespeare already, or what was the timeline on that?
What had happened was I came out and I was doing Hamlet. Out in San Diego.
Right.
And then I found that film. I was like, oh, I'm going to audition for a film because there's little short films and features and things going on. And I found this thing, auditioned, ended up getting it, met Brent. And then really the rest is history from our relationship, you know, because I moved to LA, you moved to LA. We were working on projects.
Yeah.
We had Tyler on. I'm sorry, we Harvest Moon.
Yeah, Tyler worked with.
So that's all that loop.
Yep.
You were. I'm sorry to interrupt your story. You were starting. Yeah, it's your best. You were starting in San Diego. We met on that.
Matt Boyd too was on the show.
Oh, Matt Boyd. You said Matt Boyd. Yes.
Right, Matt Boyd. Yeah, so a lot of Harvest Moon connections.
Right.
On this podcast. So
after
the movie will never die. It will never die.
Yeah, the movie will never die. It should die. But, you can watch it. You can watch it on Amazon, you know, for $1. You chuck in $1 and rent that.
Oh, wow. You know what, Harvest Moon on Amazon.
Just look us up.
Oh, dude, I'm doing that. I'm worth $1.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, I'm not getting any of that dollar.
No,
obviously, I'm giving it away, but I'm not even on the back end. But.
You know what? I just got a quarterly check of $33.
Boom, baby. You made it, Mom.
Next time
Mom,
we're together,
we made it.
We're having an NA beer and a couple Diego and I'll have beer. Yeah. But Brad, that was 20-some years ago. That was not to date us.
2005?
25,
yeah, like 24.
No, 2000. Or 2001.
2023. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's been that long. Yeah. So as time progressed, I was doing student films, and I actually was as an actor, I was in a student film, a San Diego State student film called Union, which won a student Emmy. And those filmmakers were on the cusp of making this into a feature. And one actually has a very popular YouTube channel called the Padawan Collective, which collects Star Wars.
Makes sense.
So you just never know who does what they come out of, and everything else. So a lot of student films, a lot of independent films. And then I was watching these student filmmakers, and I'm like, you know, what Brad was kidding earlier, like I could do this. And I just started doing this. I met a guy who was making surfing videos in Orange County, and I produced our first 2 shorts, and he directed and filmed it. And it kind of just caught the bug from there, and you just kind of keep going, you know?
Yeah, and then you moved up here. You did one of the most brilliant things you've done. You were way ahead of the time by probably 15 years, at least, when you did Jake's Night Out. and you did the Choose Your Own Adventure TV show series or episode. And
well, the goal was to come out with an interactive DVD, because we're talking mid 2000s where DVDs are a thing. There's no streaming, so we had developed a concept where this guy Jake goes out on one night out, and you get to choose which direction you want him to go. Cost effectively, we only made 4 scenes and tried to pitch those 4 scenes, and everybody we talked to said if you had a finished project, we would take it on. But nobody wanted to touch throwing $500,000 at this interactive TV. But later through the years, Netflix goes on and does this. Am I right on that? You watched it too, Brad, didn't you?
I think I sent that movie to you. I was like, you got to watch this. This was Jake's Night Out. You did this 15 years ago. I was like, oh my God. Right. And this is now, it's, yeah. And it's, that was so cool, man.
Yeah, we tried, Matt. We tried. And that's the problem with being the first ones out. We're too green. And talking a little bit, when we all met, were together, YouTube was at its infancy. And what an opportunity we missed out on. And I can't, we were looking back,
developing our own channel on YouTube.
Thinking back, and we talk about that, about regrets and all the stuff that you have. We were on the cutting edge of all those things, the industry changing as well. And it was like, do you change with it? Some of us just changed with it, but there were other people who were like really ahead of that on their surfboard before the wave was coming, paddling like a and they were like, I'm going to make millions on this, And then we're like, wait a second, what happened? They're off surfing. Now they're on the beach, buying the island. And we're like, hey, we're still out here. We missed that wave. What happened? What happened, man?
Wait, we could.
Well, YouTube wasn't paying at the time. So people were trying to do other things to find payments. But had you just stuck it out, I don't know. I have no idea what we would have done. But it's not like we'd have made kids videos or like, hey, look at me, I'm going to jump in. Here's a challenge.
And what we also talked about was, at our time when we were trying to make things, it was costing us thousands of dollars to make a 5-minute short because we had to hire crew that had to go hire cameras and equipment, all the tracks, like that all costs money. Now you get a DP who's got all that stuff and they're shooting digital, and it's like, they're a little cheaper. It's easier to make a short film nowadays. You don't have to have, that really high end stuff. So I guess it was difficult. I'm not trying to make excuses for why we suck, but it was different.
Well, and you can see now too. Just you can pick up a phone, but you had to have some sort of decent camera, even if it wasn't film or 16 millimeter, 32 millimeter. The digital cameras were still expensive, and now too, if you wanted to. But we've shot some amazing stuff, like looking at the stuff we did in Houston. I don't know if
please talk about it.
That stuff looks amazing. It looks amazing for Junkyard Dogs, and the two of you made it look great.
Cinematic. I learned that.
You are DPs.
I learned a lot.
See, and that's another thing too, is like, you got to be Renaissance people, you really should be multifaceted. If you're driving an automobile, you should know how to change your oil and your tire, at least, your windshield wiper fluid, know where that goes. You need to know a few things in this industry, because nobody's going to do it for you. And when we were shopping around trying to find DPs, I think I told you there was a guy who said, I'll come out there for $6,000 for the weekend and for 2 days. And I'm like,
look, I mean, people deserve to get paid, but it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that we got to do it on such a low budget,
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for that, because it was all a team. You out there directing it, me and Diego shooting it, and as well as sounding it, and then cutting it together in the back end, because it was a all hands on deck project. And back in the day I would have been like, yeah, it was all me, I'm awesome, look how awesome I was. But I realized that young guy is an idiot, and youth is wasted on the young. It's like, gosh, because now it really does, like Diego said, a village. And he talked about that in prior episodes, is you got to know this person and that person and that person, because they're all going to go on to do other things, and you might need them at some point.
Right. Yeah, that's very, very true. And I also, before I left LA, I worked on your short film, Brad, Nightmare, which did very well. It played at festivals, it won some awards. I also directed a short film called So We Stop Having Fun, which was written by Louisa Kendrick, who's still out in LA. She's still writing, and it was the best. It was the best comedy at the Black Film Festival in San Diego. So I was getting this traction of finishing Harvest Moon, which is a feature film the three of us were connected with. Nightmare is there, and it's doing well in festivals. So is Till We Stop Having Fun. And then I ran out of life money.
Yeah.
I just ran out of life money, and I said I had to leave. So that's honestly, looking back, that's one of the biggest regrets. I had a person that said, "Hey, you can stay with me," and I was just tired. I was tired, and I give you guys a lot of credit for sticking it out. And I want to make another film, and it looks like it's becoming easier and easier. But I do worry about the future of like how to market them. I don't know if the thrill for somebody's small budget film is what it used to be, unless it plays at Sundance and it's so amazing that everybody is tear-jerking.
Sure.
You can't make anything that's not a masterpiece.
That's right.
How do you
or just getting someone to sign on, I guess, right?
You need
attaching
benefactor,
someone to it. You know?
Right. Yeah. Right. And somebody. Yeah. Anybody.
Well, I don't think you can live with the regrets. Here's the thing is, everybody is on their own path, and you really, you think you're choosing it, but I don't think you are. I think it kind of chooses you, and you're out there for a reason. And I know that I've booked multiple projects out there, and I needed a place to stay, and you've always put me up, man. Otherwise, I'd have been shelling out hundreds and hundreds of dollars for hotels. You fed me, you clothed me, but only because you were gone and you had nicer clothes than I went in your closet, And so it all comes. What goes around goes around. Back around, but in a good way, not the Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake way. I ain't gonna be out there smashing cars, shaving my head, and all that jazz.
No, of course.
No, I'll juggle knives and say they're fake.
That's right. No, but they won't be fake.
No, I'll stab you, bro. You'll feel it.
I know.
But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everything you're doing, and you're a very proactive person. Even when you say, "Oh, I'm not doing anything," and you guys inspire me, I'm doing shit. No, you were already doing things because the way you work is methodical, and you're a perfectionist, and you're gonna bring your best foot forward. You don't work like a Brad Ashton, where I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm already doing this, and I got one foot out the door already, and hey, just listen, it's gonna be great." You're like, "Wait, what happened?"
Yeah.
Listen, the only real job I had working on Junkyard Dogs was to just keep you calm. I really feel like that was
talent.
It,
you were talent
right?
wrangler. I had to keep talent calm because talent was given, a 12-page script and was like, "Hey, say all this." And
that was a lot. I feel bad for her, but she did great. She nailed it.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
We're having them on the podcast in an episode in the next day or so. So that's going to be fantastic. Yeah, man. Here's the thing. Even when you're like, I didn't do anything. You did everything. You did everything, man. Yeah. And we were talking to somebody else about, Maya, I think, about when she was like taking on a part in a movie, and it's a smaller thing and this and that. And it's just like every single person is integral, as well as the project itself. That's not even a small project. But without you, it wouldn't have happened, man. And I apprippreciate it.
He's just that kind of guy, it seems like, right? That's just you, buddy. That's just the kind of personality you guys, especially if you've got, if you got something, you're a little passion backing it a little bit, right? You dive into that kind of stuff. I think that's what Junkyard was so special. Cause you said some nice things about that, but it's true. I also agree with that. We've been hanging out a lot. We've known each other for many years, but it's these small little victories out there that were just these little ideas, and seeing it come, to fruition and finishing that project the way we did, it was really special.
Brent and I were talking about it for 3 years, and then we went out and did a scout over Thanksgiving that one year, and it's like, you think it's going to happen next month, and it doesn't. And when it does,
I wish I was there at that scouting day. I think it was in Germany on that trip.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah. But
that was.
What's one of your favorite projects, like personally? Like, you seem like a guy that wears many hats. So, like, what are you enjoying the most?
You know what I do, since the feature Harvest Moon. I am going to talk a little bit about that process because it was interesting. And Tyler, who's on the show before, like it's something I just missed him. I hope he's
good.
There's so many stages in making a feature film, and it started with Diego saying, I've got a place we can shoot.
Oh yeah, that's right up in the spring.
And it was who was with you and that had that connection.
So my best friend, Greg Rogers, one of my closest friends back in the day, he was dating their daughter, and they invited us up there for like a July 4th and then a New Year's. And then we kind of just went up there a few times and got to be really close with that family, the Andersons.
The Andersons, yeah. And I still talk to Elaine on Facebook.
That's right. I think she moved to Texas. Yeah. Hi, Elaine, if you're listening.
Hi, Elaine. She's out there listening for sure.
We'll have to,
and we're listening over 22 countries we're listening to. So she's in Texas. She's somewhere.
Oh, wonderful.
But it's true. But yeah, like now I remember that was the connection. But getting up there and then we were just discussing getting that script together the last minute, basically.
Yes. And I remember Tyler came with just a huge, like it was a bigger script. And I'm like, we can't shoot this. But the two of us like just sat down and just took it apart. And it was that was a great collaborative process. Tyler was easy to work with. Like it was just, I remember being satisfied. Now we had some people that I brought on set that weren't actually always that easy to work with, but it was okay. Like it's just part of all.
The project too. I think it's timeless because it was unique when it was first. Yeah, when it first came out on streaming. I don't know 3-4 years ago. Whenever you blast us and you're like, hey, check it out. It's out here, and we go out and rent it. And
probably 6 or 7.
Then
time is really flying.
I'm not trying to feel that old. Thanks, Brent. So last year when it was, I watched it and it really is. It was good. It still translates. That's the thing. It's the graphics were great too with the ghosts and all that. So for even at the time when you shot it, it was fantastic. It was really top notch at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And even now it works.
Right.
It's a good campy film. It's fun. You should make more, man. You should make more.
I think
find some locations out there, write a script that Diego and I are starring in, and let's go. Come on.
Do it to the next level.
Absolutely.
Right? But that I learned a lot about the process of like giving and taking and scheduling. That. So, I'm currently watching The Offer on Paramount Plus, and it's about the filming of The Godfather. And they ask Al Ruddy, the producer, and he says, what do you do? What do you do exactly? He meets this girl at the club. You make films? He's like, yeah, I make films. So you're a director? He's like, no, not exactly. I do other things. I make sure all the glue stays together. Producing is so much more that you can't describe what it is, but it's so important. And, it's nonstop problem solving. So if you're a problem solver, produce. Right. And if, absolutely.
A producer is a yes man.
And there's a thrill.
You got to say yes and find these solution because they want it done.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You got to be a connection man. You have to know people, pull people together. Yeah, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not only that, just even directing too. You're making seconds. Like you've got to make a choice right now. How do you film this? What do you do? Like, you can't. It's now you got me all worked up. Like it's a thrill. It really is a thrill. It's a thrill, especially when it all comes together. You got 10 problems on top of you, and you're looking at the three of us and saying, "What the hell do we do with it?"
That's right.
And I don't know what we're gonna do with it. Okay, well, I got it. We're gonna. Brad goes into like supersonic mode.
That's
I got it.
I'm not gonna sleep tonight, but I'll have something by morning.
It's 5 a.m.
Why aren't you guys awake?
Hey, I haven't slept all night.
And Brent takes the keys with him when he goes into the Quickie Mart and leaves the car in the driveway at the Whataburger. With the line stacking up behind us at 5 a.m. We were supposed to be on set 10 minutes ago.
You were so stressed. He runs into the gas station. I need a caffeine.
Well, I started it too because he came knocking on the door and you could tell I just got out of bed and he's like, bro, what do hey, we were supposed to meet like
Diego was half naked, not even ready to go. We were already supposed to be out the front door. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, give me a second. He's like, no, man, you got the keys to the other truck. Just take it.
That starts the day.
I got lost on my way.
And then Brent needs caffeine, you were saying, Brent?
Yeah. And then I left the key. I took the key with me in this car, and it's in the drive-through waiting to get food for everybody.
And the car's running. He's got the fob, so it won't run.
Yeah.
It won't go on drive.
it won't move forward. It won't go forward. So they're all looking at me like,
well, when I'm like, fuck, Brent's got the key. So I run over to the Quickie Mart and I run inside, and Brent's got one hand in his pocket, one cup of hot coffee, he's strolling around like he's looking for a donut. And I'm like, what are you doing? We got a lot of cars at the Whataburger. He's like, oh shit. And we start running.
I've never seen you so mad. Like in the 20 some odd years I've known you, you're mad. And I don't blame you.
Because when you talk about producing a show, I was doing every single thing on that. And we only had one moment. The sun was coming up. As everybody knows who's filmmaking, if you don't know in filmmaking, dude, we were trying to get that golden hour of sunrise and sunset both days. And we only had one day to capture all that. And if you don't
it was
get
drizzling. It was raining those first 2 days we were up there.
Yeah, it was raining a little bit too.
So we got to skip the donut sometimes, guys, and just get in the car. No, that was fun. That's filmmaking, man, and that's filmmaking at its best. That's no budget filmmaking right there, dude. And that's stories,
especially to have all the whole team come together for the two sides.
Oh, your
pop and your sister on that side.
All those guys were great.
Yeah.
But so your podcast right now can be heard where? The Dead-Celebs Podcast. Where can we listen to it?
Dead-Celebs Podcast is on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're seems to be getting the most attention on YouTube. We just went on all the social media platforms. Dead-Celebs.com. You can find all the TikTok and everything. But the monkeys, we just did something on the monkeys too. Are they alive or are they dead? You guys know how many are alive and
one's alive?
Is it only one?
Yeah, Mickey Dolenz.
Well, I know. Yeah, I was just going to say Mickey Dolenz,
but I knew that.
Davy Jones just passed.
Davy Jones locker, boys. We'll be down in Davy Jones locker.
Was it? What? I'm trying to think of all the names.
You're a dad into dad jokes. You know what a pirate's favorite letter is? While Diego's thinking of this,
it's not. You want to say R, but it's not. It's something else. Dang it! I know this.
Come on, what's a pirate's favorite letter? You're right. It's not the R. It's actually
the A.
A pirate's favorite letter. No, it's not the. Yeah, you think it's the R. It's actually the C.
Oh,
the
damn.
C.
Oh, man, I just don't want to laugh.
So now, Diego, back to you. Since
Peter, was it Peter? Was one of the I can't remember all the names of the
I
monkeys.
can see their
the
faces.
blonde hair guy with the little bowl-shaped haircut at the time.
Monkey around.
But so he's all.
No, but Brad's right. There's
so
only
Mickey
one,
Dolenz is the only one.
Which is very interesting. That's it. That is it. So, so we do. That's very interesting. From like, just you don't think about it every day, and it's interesting.
No, it's super interesting. Your podcast is epic and it's informative. Just like you said, I mean, because you don't really think about it. Just like you said, you don't think about it. And if you haven't thought about it and you don't know who's dead or alive, listening to your podcast, you'll find out.
Yeah, I actually I do enjoy it. And there's a new place in Hollywood. I think it's like you go in and you get to see like images of like murders and stuff from Hollywood, like all the news clippings and the actual images of the bodies, the way where they were found in the crime scene and things like this. And like the
is this a restaurant?
No. It's kind of like it's kind of like on the like on Hollywood Boulevard you can walk in.
Row.
Like on Hollywood Boulevard where you can walk into the wax museum or something like this. Okay. It's kind of tucked into one of those little areas there. What is
it called? Like true crime in Hollywood?
No, dude. I mean, I shouldn't have brought it up because I can't remember, but it's I think it's the Museum of Death or something like that.
I think it is a Museum of Death. Well, that's actually in Hollywood.
Really?
Or it was, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of I creepily sort of enjoy that kind of thing. So
a lot of people.
It's part of reality. Death is part of life, and it's like your podcast is brilliant in that fact because if, like I said, if you haven't and you don't know, then listen to it. Because like, where were you when Michael Jackson died? When you found out Michael Jackson died, it's something you may or may not always remember. You're like, the youngsters might not.
You need to bring somebody on your show that can maybe tap into them and still throw in the spirit element into that.
Well, that's interesting. But you know what I did want to do? I know what you're saying on that too, because Bobby Brown just had a medium come to his house to talk to about Bobby, Christina, and I guess Bobby Christina said something into this medium to tell Bobby, like, Bobby Christina's walking around right now acting like, I forgot who it was, if it was some Cleopatra or something, and he almost started crying. It's like, that's what she did,
man.
you know. And those moments are very interesting. I know you're into ghosts too.
Yeah.
That's what's even more interesting.
Yep.
Forgot what else to talk about. We also dive into the different things that people hadn't paid attention to or probably forgot. Prince, for example, had a huge rivalry with Michael Jackson that I didn't know of. Like it dug so deep that the two of them were constantly at each other's throats. It was either you're on Team Prince or you're on Team Michael Jackson. I don't remember any of that.
I just enjoyed them both. Yeah.
Right. Me too. But they were neck and neck all the time. And a lot of these that we've covered, the music people from Whitney Houston to Prince, it sounds like right around their death, they were fighting over the rights to their music, which brings in the conspiracy theories as well, too. So it's something to keep your eyes out for, is what's going on, you know, especially if you're a producer named Davis. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow. That's wild, man. I mean, that's all wild. And it's scary, you know, to be the best. I mean, those people, I mean, we're the best. They're the best. I mean, geez. Yeah.
Did you see that new
and worth more dead? Real quick, worth more dead than alive. You know?
No, I was going to say, there's that new Netflix documentary of when they put We Are the World together.
Just saw that.
Check it out. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting seeing them all come into a room together and try to iron out that song.
One last tidbit on this too, regard to Prince. Prince did not want to go on there because I don't know, maybe this documentary said this too, but from what we saw, he volunteered. So he got a call from Lionel Richie. And he's like, "You want to do this?" And he's like, "No, not really. I'll play guitar."
That's right.
And he's like, "Well, I really want you to be involved in this. I'll put you right next to Michael Jackson for sure." Yeah. You know, like he just didn't want that. Which I don't know.
You know what? That sounds familiar. I think they said that. I think he said he wanted just to do. They should have just let him do the guitar lick on there, man. That would have been sick. But
yeah, but he's not in that. He's not in that group.
No, he's not.
Looking back,
there was one other artist I think that was there, and I'm forgetting her name. But they were saying that she later on and throughout the night, she quickly realized they didn't really bring her on for her to actually sing a line. They were hoping that through her connection, Prince would show up, and he never showed up. It never showed up, and so it's like, yeah.
Well, is that
so? They gave that part to Huey Lewis. And then he ends up singing right next to Michael Jackson, right after Michael Jackson's part in the song. And he nails that little part.
Yeah.
What a crazy little weird little...
Yeah, it is crazy.
And it's real.
So real.
It's cool, man.
Real.
Brent, hey, look, I know you have a bunch of things going on, so we won't keep you. We do appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here,
man.
Guys, just talking to you guys really was a pleasure. Good seeing you both.
Let's just do it again soon.
Yeah. Check out dead-celebs.com and see how the podcast is going. And we support you guys at the end of every episode. Check out
he said that, dude. That's very sweet of you, man.
Yeah, we need all the help we can get.
We all do. So we should do the same.
Yeah,
we are the world.
We are the world.
Let's all come together to make a brother podcast.
Hey, man, you remember when we could make a T-shirt like we did back in the day for We Are the World? We had T-shirts. I remember we had T-shirts in my school. We could make T-shirts for our podcast.
That's 100%. Right. Active Factor over here. Dead Celebs right over here.
100%.
Yep.
Guys, $1 million idea.
Match it up.
$1 million idea.
Well, thank you guys very much. I really do.
Hey, I hope you can have us on your podcast one day in about the next 60 years.
Hey, if you guys know a dead celeb, come on, talk about it. That's what we think we're going to do.
I don't, but I'll come listen in and just add whatever I feel like.
Yeah, that's what Diego does. He just shows up and says things. What are you guys doing next? You said
Bobby Christina Brown is what's coming out next. So, but if you know a dead celebrity, we know what we're going to do next is we're going to try to find people that knew celebrities. Like we're talking to Bob Denver's wife, who is Gilligan, awesome. About coming on the show. She's got a book. And my friend Louisa, who I mentioned earlier, I do want to talk to. I haven't yet, but she was a backup dancer for Jimmy Buffett.
Very cool.
So, and just hear those kind of stories through somebody else's eyes instead of, research through documentaries and pamphlets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know Judy Garland's granddaughter.
You too? Did she know Judy Garland is the question.
100%.
She did. Oh,
we'll talk later though, because I know your time is.
That's literally another show.
Right.
That is definitely another show.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Brent Nowak. We appreciate you. You guys check out his show. Listen to his podcast. Check him out everywhere on YouTube. Check out the films because he's really inspired and he's going to be making more movies and TV. And we appreciate it. The world needs more Brent Nowak.
And our old film that we all met on pretty much is out there for $1 on Amazon.
Dollar make you holla. Get out there and spend it, guys. Show your
Harvest
love.
Moon.
Harvest Moon.
20-something years ago.
Let's go, Baldinis. We love it. All right, Brent. Have an excellent time, man. We appreciate yours. Thank you so much.
See you, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
You're listening to The Actor Factor.
Man, that was awesome. Wasn't it great having Brent on the show? Dude, blast from the past, right?
I love it when his conversations with old friends like that. Literally, blast from the past.
Blast from the past. And he's so, dude, he's doing a lot of cool things because, he dipped out for a minute and that's what he talked about. Like he left town. He was uninspired. He felt tired.
Oh, I see.
And he went to the East Coast and then recharged,
Yeah. Oh, wait, I forget. Where did he grow up?
We didn't even get into that. I mean, we were talking about so much things, but he's from Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
Green Bay, Wisconsin, actually.
I see.
He's from Green Bay.
That's not where he's living now.
No, yeah. He's out in Charleston, South Carolina right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right. And that's when you were doing a lot of work out there. That was very convenient at the time, right?
Correct.
That's what you guys were talking about early on.
Yeah, he's got a house and he's got another house now, but the house he had before that he owned was had a garage apartment. That's go and stay there. It was in his brand new house.
Wow.
So it was really cool. And then he got out of that one and now he's in another one, apparently by a lake with a canoe.
Hey, man. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's like, but he seems like a guy that's never stops. It's not like he has a few nice things and he's, retiring by any means. Like he put himself in a good place now to still stay creative and inspiring. And he looks good, man. It was good to see him actually in Texas a few weeks. Well, man, it's been a couple months now, but
yeah,
it was good to see him.
Absolutely. Thanks, thanks, Brent, for coming on the show. Diego, thanks for letting me bring him on.
Hey, dude. Nice to have people we've known for a long time on.
And I'm so glad to see that they're successful in doing things, and not living in my dad's basement.
Check out his podcast.
Yeah, check it out, you guys.
Dead-Celebs.
Dead-Celebs Podcast. Right? Dead-Celebs Podcast. The Dead-Celebs.
Can't believe he's always giving us shout outs.
Yeah, he's the man. Nice. And he gets thousands of listens. It's great, Good for you, Brent. Keep on rocking, man. Hey,
maybe we'll double up this year from tens of people to 20s.
That would be double. I was about to be bad mathing and say hundreds.
That's 10 times.
That's ambitious, bro. I know. All right. Hey, I know you got to run. I definitely do too.
Yeah, brother. I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Thanks for being here with me. Take care.
See ya. This has been the Actor Factor Podcast with Brad Ashten and Diego Garcia. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the help of Britton Sparkman on audio engineering, Evan Michael Hart with the original theme music, and logo art by Sam Weller. Follow us on Instagram at Actor Factor Podcast to learn more about today's guest.